guys, welcome to another edition of using Cypress TypeScript and doing a post call on an API as we were doing in the series. So today I'm just going to go here. I'm just going to go to, this is as we said, actually the prerequisite is that this is the very standard just TypeScript creation, nothing much here. If you look at the first video, you see how this project was created. Since this project was created, there was nothing in. All I've just done is just to put this directory here for us to do the get call. So now let's do a post. So I'm just going to create new directory. So I'll just call it post. Actually, I'll just follow the same. So I'll just say request and I'll press an enter. In this post, what we need to do is to create a file here. So I'll just say post, probably I'll say post call or post request. So let's be, I'm just going to do the same thing, post request.cy.ts here, press an enter. And what we can do just to be quick here is that I'm just going to go and copy the bootstrap of this thing here and just strip out what I don't need. So I'm just going to copy the get request we've done yesterday. So let's go here and just paste it here. So what we do, let's just delete things we don't need at the moment. So just delete that one. I'll just keep it simple, really. And then this one as well. So here, let's just go and rename this. This is just making post, obviously making post request and make a post request. So this is, once post request is made, then obviously you can say then the response should be valid. Okay, so let's say this is option A because we might have option B. So let's go to like obviously the same Swagger that we were working on yesterday. So here is the Swagger here, and if you look at this now, so let's collapse every single thing here. These are all the endpoints on this Swagger that we want to test. The last one we were looking at, we were just looking at the stored / inventory request. Today, let's look at other one. Okay, so this is the second one, and then this one enables posting to be obviously possible. So what we can do, obviously, we just take these basic things here and just go and make the call. So once we go here, obviously this is what it takes, and we can just say execute here, and it gives us this. It gives us 200 and all of that. Also, if you want, you can just copy this now because Swagger gives you that option as well. You can just copy this and just go to probably just create a new tab and just go try it out as well. So you can see kind of what you get from the postman, from the curl, just command line. So if you paste this in, press and enter, there, these are the result that comes through. Perfect, which means the posting works. So let's go back and just automate this. First thing you notice is that for us to make this request here, the base URI is still same as at the last one when we were doing a get call. So which means on this our project here, if we go back in, you see that the base URL that we created is still valid, isn't it? So that's the one. And then the next thing we want to set up is on this post is that let's begin to fill things up. So to make a post with Cypress on a TypeScript is easy. So what we want to do is to, obviously the method is post and URL. This is just like an endpoint, but they call it URL. So this is the where the endpoint where this request will be hidden. So let's go here and find out. The endpoint here will be /store/order. So let's go back, copy this and go back here and just put it in. So this is store/order. This is where the request will be going. The previous one, we use the header here. We just have accept application/JSON. Let's have a look and see if there is more headers that is being passed through. In this one, you can see that we have something else. We have content type as well. So it has this accept, it has content type. So let's go. So here, I'm just going to add this one through and just say that. So this is, so it didn't copy. So this is content type. Let's be sure we've done the right thing here, and then this is going to be the same thing here as well. Obviously, let's make sure that I've typed this correctly the way it is needed. This is content type, actually. I think it's correct. So let's copy just to be clear. Just copy this, paste it here. Right. So we're good with the headers. If there are more tokens and things, please add them through. But for now, there's no any other header. So for now, I'll just call this one probably just we're posting on order. Just give this any random name of your choice. Today, I'll just call it probably like order. And it is this name that you have to pass it through here. If you look on our get API call, you will kind of understand what this means, because this kind of a concept is where I have actually just done the request, and then here I am now going through the results, isn't it? So okay, so the first thing we want to look at is that the response coming down through the when we made this call on the Swagger, we got 200. Okay, so that's the one. What else did we get? So when we made a call, ID is 224, pet ID 24, quantity. These are the things we passed through, but obviously they got created. So let's go back. So obviously the body coming down just to validate this object. This one is fine. Validate that he has a property. What are the properties? What are those properties? Obviously he has an ID property. You can take that one. It has pet ID. Actually, let's validate this one to make sure that it has, but you can check whatever it is. You can even check the quantity. So let's do pet ID and quantity. So it has property, pet ID. And you can also, actually, let's copy paste this one. You can also, the pet ID here, you can also check just property or property with its value. So this way we have quantity. You can also check obviously that the value as well. So these are the two ways you can do that. Either you're checking just the attributes, which is obviously the property, or attribute and value together. You can check them like this. What else? Obviously, if you need to check anything else, like let's check pet ID as well. The pet ID for this one is has pet ID, and I'm not going to go and continue to do other things, so I'll just do that. It had this one should pretty be like standard, so like the status code, and it should have a header. These three should really be like across board really, but then these ones are just like specific to the specific request you're making. So what are we doing again? Let's go through quickly. So here then the response should be valid, and I'm just calling this option A because I'll show you a different way of doing this again. So this is method is post, URL is store/order. This is header. This is, and then this is captured here. Kind of save the snapshot, and then we move on to going to where we then validate. In that case, you just do Cypress.get, and then you pick up what you've just left off here. But you have to pick it up with an @ symbol. Pick it up, and then it should have the response. Then you go ahead to analyze the response. The next thing we want to, after we've just done this header as well, obviously we just forgot to put that through, so you just need to do body because we're doing a post request. For post request, it's got to take a body. So the first body that this is taking, if we go back to this thing here, it just takes an ID, pet ID. So let's copy those. Here I'm just putting 24. This can be anything, but just this is specific to this post request here. So let's go back and just put that. So this first one is an ID. It can be any number really. Let's do 24 because that's what we are looking for in our assertion. Let's do next one is pet ID. So let's do pet ID, and pet ID here as well. Obviously it can be the same thing, doesn't really matter. So here I think I'll stick with like just calling them numbers. Pet ID here, I'll just do numbers as well. Here you go. And then what else does it take? It does take quantity as well. So this is quantity. Quantity here it does take quantity would be 24, and here obviously we can just parameterize it. And then the next one, it does take as ship date, or ship date. It does take that. So let's do ship date. And then the last one, I think I'll just fill up the date in a minute, but the last thing I think it takes is it should really take the last thing, which is status, like complete. So here is complete, and it just takes it that way. So let's fill this up. Just go, and I'll just so let's fill up this now. Let's go back to okay, not that one. Let's go back to the browser. So here, ship date. I'll just take today's date really and just put it through. So I'm not going to sort of get myself making mistake on date. This and complete. What is the status there? So if I go back here, this is placed is what it needs to be. So it has status and it has this. So status and that is what we need. So let's go back. So I just paste this one through. So this has complete true. This has status. After you make this call, it should go back to place the order, and then it has quantity, pet ID, and store. So these are the body that this request. Obviously, when you do post is in such a way that you are sending a data to the back end of a system, and that's what it is. But this is how to do it on a Cypress, really. So let's go and run the test. There you go. So you can see that Cypress has validated everything else, and you can see that if it was expecting 200, it found 200. This one, it was the property should have header, the property should have in this one should have duration, it should have, in fact, it should look for something like it has greater than of the time it took for the server to actually just run. You can also like go and recreate this on a Postman and see how it goes. And then here you can see pet ID. This expected to have pet ID and a quantity, and then this one expected to have quantity alone, and then this one expected to have like that 24 and pet ID, and then that. So everything else is passing. Here is the request we made, and the request was saved here as order, and then this order was picked up and was analyzed. When you want to make this post request and you realize that probably just over time, this is like an advanced kind of one. So I'm just going to copy this whole code and recreate this code again. Let's recopy. And then here I want to make this call, but obviously I think I missed out something. Yeah, I did. So I just missed out something here. And if I put it here, right, so let's talk about second way of doing this thing. The second way of doing this request, especially when the body is too large to be hard coded on the test, you can actually go ahead and just create a JSON file here. So say for instance here, this is the JSON that we need. Let's say this JSON is too large. So I'm just going to copy this JSON and we're just going to place an order. So you can just call this something like an order here, order.json, and press an enter and just paste it here. So if you have done that here, just make sure you have a valid JSON. Once we have this JSON here, or probably you can just go to this this Swagger here and just copy the whole thing from here. So if I copy this one, it's still the same, just showing you different ways of doing this. So if I copy this one here, I now have a JSON data that is called as this JSON data is called as probably just nickname as order. The name or the nomenclature that you give to this name of the JSON doesn't really matter. It can be called anything, just you know, anything you can use to remember that. But what do you need to do? So what we need to do in this case, in this test here, is we need to rework this test to actually sort of like accommodate what we want to do. So what do we want to do quickly? So here we want to call cy dot. In this case, we want to use this fixture. So this is the thing that Cypress provides us. This is fixtures here, you can see. But in this case, so here we just say cy.fixture. And this in this fixture, so we need to actually say what the name of that file we are looking for is. So in this case, the file is order.json. So here order.json, and then it is not what this is. Now here I'm just going to be dot then. If it is then here, we can now wrap up every single thing we got in that. So let's say this is going to be store data. So we can just call this store, and here any, and this way. So once we've done it this way, the next thing we will do is to open this up and then copy our text within this space. Anything you do within here now, this stored data would be coming down nicely. So let's actually, to be honest with you, let's just actually just do cy.log and see what that data is going to obviously give us. So let's log this data out. What I'll do is I'll just say json.stringify, and once I stringify this data, I'll just say dot store. Let's see what this data would output. So this store is coming through here, and I'm stringifying this. I just want to see the data come through, and in that way, once it works, we don't have to really like hard code it here. We can just replace that. But let's run this and see how it's doing. So this is running. So if I go back here, I'll just go back to the post and then go back to both. You can see that both are working, but you can now see that the JSON data is coming through, is just feeding through. So if it's feeding through, the easiest thing for us to do now is to like copy our request and put it in there so that the request can get it. So here's the beginning and end of the request. You can just copy this whole thing, copy, and then just put it through here. I mean, you can delete this now, so because we don't need this anymore, just take this store and just put this store here. Just replace every single thing here, and the store becomes this. Easy. And this actually looks cleaner. This is much better polished way of doing things. I'm just going to name this one B, option B. So you see this is option B, is obviously the previous one where the data is hard coded, the data you're sending to the server, and then this one, the data here is just feeding through automatically. So if you have anything to do, here you can just come and change the data through, and anything you change will just pipe through and come down to the test quickly, as you can see. So now that we've done this, now it will read the data and then we just pipe it through here, and the request will go, and then we'll validate that. Let's find out how it's going. So we go here, you can see now that the test is still passing. So this is what I'm saying, but this is much cleaner way of doing these things. Thank you very much.